So why am I LS swapping my E30 Touring? Well, in this video I'm going to share the full story on why I chose the LS, what I plan to do with the car, what are my goals, like what do I want to achieve with it, and what sort of issues, problems I've come across while building the engine and trying to get the engine in the car. So the car itself, so I bought this car back in early 2021 I think it was. I've been looking for an E30 for quite a while, like a good 5 years before that. It's not that I didn't find one that I didn't like, I just never really got round to it for a long time, to be honest. And anyway, I'd sort of stopped looking. I wanted to get into the camper van. I wanted a van, I wanted to go do a bit of travelling and stuff like that, and a bit of camping and all that. So I sort of stopped looking at E30s, and then just so happened I got an email from eBay saying a car that you've looked at has been relisted, and it said it was BMW E30, and I thought, well, I've not looked at E30s in, I don't know, 6 months, so I thought, that's weird. So anyway, I clicked on it, and it was a red BMW E30 Touring, and it was at a good price. So I decided to go and have a look at it, and so I took my mate. We're both in the car trade, do bits and bobs, but I get a bit excited when I go to buy things. I get a bit excited, and you sort of look at things with rose tinted glasses on. So I thought, if I take him, he's quite how would you say it, like realistic, or like if he sees something bad with it, he'll point it out, and that'll be that. He won't see it with the rose tinted glasses that I would have. So anyway, turned up, had a look round it, and it was a really solid shell, like really solid shell. And like I was going round it trying to pick holes, and my mate was looking round it trying to pick holes. But it was just quite an honest car. It's obviously had paint in the past, but the rust was super minimal. Like all the sills were fine, all the common places where you expect to see rust were fine. So you might be asking, why an E30? And I mean, I know E30s have become very popular nowadays. In that sort of, the popularity seems to have kicked up massively in the last sort of 5 years or so. Like lots of YouTubers using them. I mean, I've loved them for a long time. They were like just a quintessential BMW for me. They're just a very iconic looking car. I've always been a massive BMW fan. They're just sort of a great platform as well. Good chassis, fun to drive. I really enjoy driving it. And like I said before, I've wanted one of these for a long time. So when the opportunity arose and at a respectable price, I thought, why not? And obviously during COVID, bought in 2021, so during COVID, I needed a bit of a project. So like everyone else, we're all at home, not really doing a great deal of stuff, so I thought, nice little project, just give me something to do. So, why an LS? Obviously I'm in the UK, an LS swap isn't a common thing to do. At first I considered other swap, even a Toyota engine like the 1UZ, but that required chassis modifications more than I was wanting to do. So then I started thinking about the M50 swap with the idea that I would turbo it, and I even bought a aftermarket ECU to do that. But then when I got the chance to bring an LS back from the US for next to no money, it was a bit of a no-brainer really. And that's really when everything changed, and I decided to do the big V8 swap. I went with one of the lads, a good mate, one of the lads I was working with, and we went to a pick your own parts place in America, like a scrapyard, and we went and pulled the engine out of I can't remember if it was a Chevy Suburban or a Tahoe, but one of the big SUV things anyway. So yeah, had a great day pulling the engine out, got it back, give it a quick clean and stuck it in the container. to come back to the UK. So that's the main reason I picked an LS, or an LQ4, was that it was supposed to be a nice cheap swap. That was the idea. Why pick an LS anyway? So the main reason why I got one is the reliability and power of the LS engine and the aftermarket support that you have with these engines, mainly in the US, and Australia has a big aftermarket for these as well. But because it has such a big aftermarket support, it means that actually the prices of things don't seem to be super expensive for them, because they have to be pretty competitive. The other reason is I do love the sound of an American V8, especially with a good cam in it, with a choppy cam that gives you that lumpy idle, and the power like a camshaft and a few other bits and bobs, and the LQ4 can be running not like 300-400 horsepower, which is quite a lot of power really for such a cheap swap. I also wanted to sort of do something a little bit different in the LS sort of game, sort of with my background on stuff and how I want to do stuff. I want to do stuff a little bit different, as you can see from my water manifold and stuff like that. I want to make it tidy, make it like a nice looking engine. I mean, it's already a good looking engine. It's nice, small. A lot of engines, especially V8s now, are huge things. Another reason why I picked the LS is because of actually the size of the thing. Really, as a base engine with no like ancillaries on it like alternators, it's actually quite a compact unit. There's actually quite a lot of aftermarket support on getting the LS into an E30 as well, like with the engine sump from Siki that I bought. There's other companies that do them, like I think it's Moroso do a sump that also works. There's also plenty of adapters that you can use for gearboxes, so there's a massive range of things like gearboxes you can use, and you've just got to remember, you've just got to LS swap the world. So what's the goal of the car? I want the car to be a nice sort of weekend car that I can take to like cars and coffee, go on nice holidays. I want to do road trips in it. I just want it to be a nice finished car, if that makes sense. Nicely finished. I want to sit in it. I want it to be nice and comfortable. I want it to look nice. I want the engine bay to be clean, but I'm not really going for the tucked look. Just a nice workable engine bay that's clean, organised. There'll be a lot of thought given to the engine bay and how things are run and stuff like that. But like I say, I'm not going for the tucked engine bay look. I think it looks cool, a tucked engine bay, but it's not really what I'm after with this build. So what am I excited for the most? I think the big milestones, you know. So like getting the engine sat in there for the first time, properly mounted up, hearing it start up for the first time, especially because I'm going to be building the engine loom and stuff like that, so it'll be a nice accomplishment. And then the first drive, that's got to be up there. That's going to be awesome, and I can't wait for it already. The one thing I'm so keen on not doing is having this turn into one of them projects that sits on axle stands in the garage or whatever for years on end. My target for this car is to actually have the engine in and running next year. I want to take it to some cars and coffee, some car shows and stuff like that next year, next summer. So that's the target. Whether it'll happen, I'm not sure, but it's really what I'm aiming for. So the challenge is, time's probably been my biggest challenge. With a full-time job and travelling for work, progress has been a bit slower than I'd probably like. So for me in the UK, getting the aftermarket parts has been a little bit of a challenge. Luckily I know a few people who go to the US for work, so I've managed to get them to bring me stuff back. And actually for most of your engine parts, Rock Auto and eBay has been a great place to get my bits. Rock Auto especially for a lot of the OEM parts, I was very impressed with. But stuff like the camshaft, the sump, that was a bit more hard work getting it. Nothing to do with Sicky's, not Sicky's fault as a company. It just, I didn't want to pay shipping basically, because the sump kit was maybe £1,000 or something, but then the shipping was £500 on top of that, which I'm a tight Yorkshireman. I wasn't going to pay that. So luckily, one of the lads that I know that does a bit of work out there every now and again brought it back for me for a box of beers basically. So that's why I'm swapping an LS into my E30. But what's next? Well, I've still got to sort out the gearbox, as in choosing which one I want to use. Still oohing and ahhing on whether it's going to be a T56 or a BMW gearbox with an adapter plate. They're both going to cost a similar amount, but I believe that the T56 can hold more power or torque. Torque's the main thing that you're worried about with the gearbox, and because you don't have to run an adapter plate, it means you can probably bring the engine a little bit further back in the engine bay, which obviously for an LQ4, which is the iron block, it's quite a weighty engine to have just sat in the front of the car. So I do want it as far back in the engine bay as possible. So the next couple of videos, I'm hoping to actually get this in a workshop, which workshop incoming, and we're going to start prepping the engine bay for an LS. So we're going to pull the engine out and we'll start eyeballing things where I can place things to tidy them up, because obviously I'm going to have to get rid of the brake booster, or the original brake booster, but I think I've got a little solution for the brake booster and what I'm going to do, but I just need to make sure it fits where I think it'll fit. And then yeah, we'll aim to get the LS actually sat in here and start fabricating some engine mounts and stuff like that. So I actually need to make a decision on the gearbox pretty quick. So yeah, that's the story behind why I'm LS swapping my E30 Touring. It definitely isn't going to be the easiest route that I could have taken, but I think it'll make for a cool swap, especially in the UK. Like, you won't see them about very often, but I can't wait to get this thing in the engine bay and run it. So if you're into engine swaps, modifying cars, anything E30 related, or you just want to see an LS powered E30 come to life, make sure you're subscribed, leave a like, and maybe comment what you would have swapped into my E30 Touring if it was your car. See you in the next one.